folks. Welcome to Trashcan Gaming. I'm Randy Trashcan. Just wanted to talk to you a bit today about the M4, MWS, and G36. The AK-15 as well. Now, these are weapons I just don't see people using all too often. Most maps in this game tend to be slated towards medium-range engagements with a good deal of close quarters in the mix. But to excel in both conditions, and that's to say most conditions, you'd be hard-pressed not to pick an all-arounder. A weapon that can neatly perform in any situation you may find yourself in. The M416 barrel, MSBS models, these are the first of which that come to mind. And I'd argue it's why submachine guns are rarely used. It's why the M4 and G36 are so rarely used. There are simply more competitive choices available. Now, these weapons with a high rate of fire, they do have huge damage potential if, and let me stress that, if you can land the headshots. Their handicap is recoil. Now, I really wanted to like the G36, and I know I'm not alone in saying that I was excited to unlock the M4. I think everyone is. It's iconic. Yet I regularly see complaints in-game about the M4 being a letdown, as one said. It's just so ineffective at range. Even medium range, where the barrel M416, the SCAR, MSBSK, the M417, any of these can better perform. The only thing we can do to make these high recoiling weapons more competitive is tack on an underbarrel attachment and a muzzle device. Hopefully that will make a difference. I'm sure you've noticed this control bar down here. And you'll see an M4 with the Monster Grip and M4 muzzle brake attachments scores much higher in control than if one were to use horizontal recoil control attachments. In fact, applying this classic grip to this stock M4 shows a net negative result, despite the 30% horizontal recoil reduction. There's your first hint something is amiss. So, what's actually going on here? Let's take a look. Here's a stock M4, no attachments, no recoil reduction, nothing. And here's how we're looking once we apply those vertical recoil control attachments. Now that is significant, but it's still terrible. That's a huge amount of horizontal recoil. Let's try that once more, but this time using only horizontal recoil reduction attachments. Now, that is a ton of vertical recoil, but at least we only need to focus on managing one type of recoil. Let's take a look at that side by side. So then, what does that tell us about the control bar in our loadout screen? It's a lie. And most don't know this, but it's actually required by law that every first-person shooter game must have at least one purely misleading weapon stat graph in-game. Call of Duty 4 and the controversy around the Deep Impact perk immediately comes to mind, but the confusion around it was actually a result of the lack of an adaptive modular stat graph. It was the talk of the town, among other things. The in-game description stated only that it increased bullet penetration. Did it only affect bullet damage through walls? Bodies? Was it a damage increase bonus? Did it stack with stopping power? And how did so many 13-year-olds know my mom on such a personal level? Regardless, the control bar in this graph should be renamed recoil. It's measuring the total recoil reduction over the span, the area of the recoil pattern. It absolutely does not measure how easy a weapon is to control in full auto. And there's another key takeaway. full auto. Your weapon, if it has a selector switch, which allows you to choose between semi-automatic and automatic fire, will recoil noticeably less in semi-auto. If you're trying to take single shots to pick off a distant target, swap to semi-auto. Recoil is not only reduced in semi-automatic fire, but your weapon will return back to center, the neutral position, significantly faster. This allows blazing fast follow-up shots that would otherwise be impossible. If we try the M4 in semi-auto, we'll see much greater accuracy at range. You'll be able to keep your sights on your target with relative ease. So, with the horizontal recoil attachments for control in close quarters, and semi-auto functionality for medium range, we must have a capable weapon, right? No. Damage at range is hideous with the M4. If your target is wearing any sort of body armor, be it Kevlar, plate, a few sheets of wet cardboard, the M4 just underperforms. It's a pea shooter. There are far better options available, like the ones I mentioned earlier. For me, it's the barrel, the M417, the MSBSK, potentially the SCAR. The M4 is simply too niche for the 4 maps we currently have. Hopefully we'll see some close quarters maps released in the near future, which will give this weapon and the G36 their true moments to shine. In the meantime, I leave them to Team Deathmatch. But what do you think? Is the M4 your go-to weapon? The G36, the AK-15, and who have I pissed off here today? Do you think I'm totally off base? I don't know. Maybe it's just my tiny hands and small stature. Actually, what is that? What is...
Rocky! What day is it? Is it Tuesday? What day is trash? That is today. That's today.